So the first big bit of news actually came out of Adepticon this week, and it was from the guys at Games Workshop. And this is sort of the first bit of this is focused towards Age of Sigmar, but also Warhammer 40,000 as well, because we know that demons like to travel through their realms of chaos into all sorts of interesting places. And this is the news that Slaanesh is back in a big way, and this was all heralded by the introduction of a new version of the Keeper of Secrets that you can see right there. So yeah. We're getting a new model, which I think is looking very, very suave, very, very sexy indeed, that will be leading the Hedonites of Slaanesh into battle throughout the mortal realms, and of course, the grim dark future of the 41st millennium as well. Going alongside the release of the Keeper of Secrets, we're also seeing some additional stuff coming through as well. So we're seeing the Mask return, which is Slaanesh's favourite demonette, is coming back to the tabletop in some form as well. And also some additional models too. So you'll see some lovely stuff there with that kind of like almost giant style creature, that giant humanoid sort of being ridden around by one of the demonettes as well. It kind of puts me in mind of, the idea of what Xerxes was like was it Xerxes?
Yeah.
In 300?
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of like over-the-top hedonistic style thing going on. It very much reminds me of that. But yeah, it's really nice to see Slaanesh coming back in a big way. They're getting their battle tome. They're getting some really cool new endless spells as well, which is absolutely fantastic to see. And again, as I say, Slaanesh coming back to the tabletop is kind of interesting, because obviously they sort of pushed them to the side for a little bit for a while, just because it was a little bit on the nose, perhaps. But I think they've come back with a new design philosophy to try and get that kind of level of sort of, as I say, allure and a sort of sexiness back onto the tabletop, but without, going over the top and throwing boobs everywhere, which is a big thing. So
yeah. I'm going to be controversial here. I'm going to say I really dislike what they've done to Slaanesh here.
What?
Yeah.
What? It's an amazing sculpt. It's brilliant.
Technically, it's great, but it just doesn't feel like Slaanesh to me. It's became a lot more masculine, a lot more androgenized. And I don't know, I always liked the older versions.
See, yeah, that's the thing. I think the androgynous nature of that is what really should draw this in, because there's no sort of set sex or gender to whatever Slaanesh was on the tabletop. It was
incredibly gender fluid.
Incredibly gender fluid, and I love the fact that they've got the Keeper of Secrets just striding forward, almost a little bit like a model on a catwalk. Because I believe you could just imagine them exuding effectively no sort of like aggression or anything when they're fighting, but just sort of calmly walking forward, slicing things down as they go. I think it's very sort of fitting for the world of Slaanesh. So, but that's just me. That's just me.
I know. It is all opinion. Some people like the new stuff. Some people who are right like me will like the older stuff.
Yeah, I think you're wrong. I don't think they've changed it that much at all.
No.
The sculpt actually feels just a lot more masculine. There's very little femininity to this.
That's very definitely hermaphroditic. That's got one male breast and one female breast, which is how it was always meant to be portrayed, and they rarely did it on the sculpts. And the cow face is very similar to, I want to say, the Demon Prince Azael. Was a cow-headed hermaphrodite from fantasy.
Okay.
About 20 years ago, just before Chaos stormed the first time. So yeah, I mean, even things like the mask coming back. That's I'd be hard pressed to tell you the difference between that and the original mask. I'm assuming that's plastic multi-part.
I think this is a new plastic version.
Yeah. So. Yeah, but again, it doesn't look that much different from the original one. It's just a repose more than anything else. They've not changed anything. Oh, it's got ruff as a collar, which is quite nice. Don't see enough ruffs. Like a bit of ruff.
You like a bit of ruff.
Fair enough.
As do Slaanesh.
Yeah. So, even things like the spells are quite nice.
Yeah, I really like
spell effects.
Are really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like what they're doing with this. As I say, it's just nice to see another, the final greater demon effectively sorted out for all the Chaos gods. Because of course you've got Skaven in there as well now, which is a big thing. But yeah, it's just really nice to see what they're doing for Slaanesh. And of course, this crosses the gambit from not just Age Sigmar and the Mortal Realms into 40k as well, which is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I say, the main focus here is on Age Sigmar, which leads us on to one of the other things that was announced as part of the news from Adepticon this week, and that we actually got a little bit more detail about what Forbidden Power is all about. Now, we'd seen the teaser trailer for this, I think it was last week, maybe it was the week before, but now we're actually getting a look at this itself, and it's going to be a new boxed set that will come with a bunch of new rules in there, but also some new endless spells, because the Necroquake that Nagash put into effect during Soul Wars has actually helped break open the vault that was sealed by Sigmar and Teclis, where forbidden powers, hence the name, were sealed away from mortals so they could not use them. And now everybody, not just death, are going to be able to use the powers of death on the tabletop. So all of the factions are going to be able to bring these spells to the tabletop, and that obviously brings in a lot of different things into contention concerning the Stormcast Eternals, Sigmar, and the fact that he keeps bringing all these people back to life all the time and things like that. So yeah, I'm very interested to see where they go with the storyline for this one.
I quite like the ferryman-like spell, and I assume it's a spell on the side of that box.
What's the one?
So,
yes.
those are just a couple of the new spells that are coming out as part of this. So
Yeah, that's cool.
As well as that, another battle tome is on the way as well. So those of you that like playing as the Fire Slayers on the tabletop, you're going to be getting yourself an updated version of that battle tome, which will come with, as you might imagine, some new stuff in terms of the rules and sort of like the formations you can use. And also you're going to be getting some sort of their take on the idea of endless spells. So if you like yourself, I think they called them magmic invocations, because dwarves don't cast magic, of course.
No.
Of course they don't.
Make runes, strike it on your anvil. That's how we deal.
Exactly. Do it the health and safety way.
Yeah.
So they've brought together some really cool looking new spells for you to use on the tabletop for that. And there's also a new terrain piece. And talking of Duardin as a whole, if you're going to be getting stuck into Warhammer Underworlds, they've also announced a new warband for that as well, called Thudric's Profiteers. So if you like playing as the Kradron Overlords, then you've got yourself an interesting new warband to play around with here. And the cool thing about this one is that it seems very, very ranged focused. Normally we've seen either a mix of melee and ranged or just melee. This one seems very, very much sort of focused towards the range side of things. So it'd be good to see how that works on the tabletop compared to some of the other warbands out there as well. But that's not all. That's not all. There is even more.
Wait, there's more?
Yes, there's even more. There was also a teaser for something called Loon Curse, and this was their sort of teaser towards something happening in the forests of the Mortal Realms. And we could potentially be seeing some new stuff coming out in terms of squigs and things for the Gloomspite Git, and maybe this is going to have them running into contention with the Sylvanet, because obviously they are the guardians of the forests and stuff within the realms of life and all that kind of thing. Maybe we're going to get ourselves a new box set. That could be quite interesting, seeing these two sides going off against each other. That could be pretty cool. But yeah, watch out for that. But even then, that's not all, because there was even more stuff that came out for this as well. Because a couple of weeks ago, we talked about Age of Sigmar Warcry, which is the new game that has been done by the guys behind Kill Team and Shades and Warhammer Underworlds. Sorry, not Shades, by Shades is just part of that. And we also got to look at one of the factions for that called the Iron Golem Tribe. Now, one of the big things that they're doing in Warcry is they're going to be looking at all the different Chaos factions, but without their sort of allegiance to the gods, but instead just them as their sort of own entities that exist out there in the mortal realms. The Iron Golem Tribe, as one of these sort of Chaos warbands out there, are effectively the forgers and the blacksmiths of the Chaos armies and the Slaves of Darkness. And as you can see here, they are made up of not just humans, but also ogres and Duardin as well, as you can see in some of the pictures further down that page as well. And they make all the weapons effectively for Archaon the Everchosen and his armies. So yeah, it'll be very cool to see how these guys work on the tabletop. Loving the look of them so far. It's kind of got that almost sort of like weird nautical theme to them as well, with their sort of helmets. And I love that sort of style they've got to them. I guess it would be a little bit more gladiatorial as well, which I think is very cool. But yeah, very cool stuff for that. They also, oh god, there's so much stuff coming out for these. They also showed off some of the monsters that are going to be thrown into the mix as well for this. So we got a better look at the Fury, which is very cool. Hopefully, I really hope they're going to do these as almost like wandering monsters in Warcry. So they're the ones that are going to be sort of like walking around or flying around and sort of picking up one of your guys as he's trying to kill somebody and like throwing them off a cliff and all that kind of thing. There was also the Raptorix as well, which was thrown into the mix there, which is that kind of weird beast you see at the bottom. And finally, the last bit of news for Warcry is that a lot of people were looking at this and thinking it was just going to be Chaos Warbands, and that was it. But as part of one of their teaser images, they announced that there are going to be, I think it's between 8 and 9 other factions that will get thrown into the mix for this. So you'll also be able to bring in things like your Stormcast Eternals, your Oryx, your Nighthaunts, your Ideneth Deepkin potentially as well. They've left us to try and sort of decode the iconography for this one. But as it stands, that sounds pretty awesome indeed. And it just means that anybody who wasn't overly fussed by Chaos, now you've got a reason to start looking at Warcry. Oh, and end. That was all the Age of Sigmar news that came out from
My word.
this week.
That was one. And out of all of that, which is your favourite bit, Ben?
I love what they've done with Slaanesh. I think it's amazing, but I'm really, really excited by what they're doing for Warcry. I think this idea of these Chaos Warbands that aren't necessarily tied to this particular chaotic allegiances, sort of Chaos God allegiance, is really, really cool, and I can't wait to see what else they do. We've seen one that looks to be sort of like based around the idea of beasts, so maybe it's going to be sort of set in that realm as well, which should be very interesting. So, awesome stuff.
I'm a massive fan of the Dwarven pizza oven.
Yes, that
because
is very cool.
You get hungry sometimes when you're fighting a long war, an eternal war, and you just want a pizza.
Exactly. Yeah, the Urgold special. Yeah, it comes with gold flakes in
comes
the pizza.
with a little bit of everything on it.
Yeah.
I think out of everything there, I like the Raptorix. Just it's a really odd design to actually see.
The platypus beast of doom.
Hang on.
Yes.
Don't even start me on platypuses. They are the strangest creature on this planet. I mean, like, what the hell happened to create that? Wait, don't imagine it.
Evolution. They needed something to fulfill that point, and it just went, we need a duck-billed platypus. Yeah. And let's give it spurs with poison. Yeah, why not?
It was either that or God was just playing around with the Play-Doh one day.
Well.
That or he had a long night's drinking the night before. You know, Angel comes in the morning and goes, what the hell?
You let this get through? What?